Mabuhay, this is Designcaster, and it feels so good to be back. It's been so long since I uploaded something on my channel, and this is going to be my first video for the year 2021. And the reason why I wasn't productive last year was because I had a part-time job last October 2020, and it stressed me out a lot. I didn't have time for content creating, even for just playing The Sims 4. So, let's dive in and talk about this build anyway. This is a park that I built which is inspired from the same name, Gardens by the Bay, which is located in Singapore. And I already finished building this since April 2020, and I just had the time to finish the speed build of it recently. Moving on, this park has a small indoor garden where the entrance of the park is located as well, and it has a stairs that will lead the Sims up in the sky path. So the sky path is a long hanging walkway all throughout the park while overlooking the beautiful bay of Windenburg. This park also has some facilities that the Sims can use to enjoy their day in the park, which will I be discussing later on. Moving on to the next part of the speed build is the process on how I built the main attractions of the park, which are the sky path and Supertrees. I have already talked about the sky path on the previous part, so let's talk about the Supertrees instead. So there are 5 Supertrees in the park which give a generous amount of shade to protect all the visitors from the harmful rays of the sun. And to be honest, I never thought that it would be possible for me to build the Supertrees in The Sims 4. Because at first I thought that I needed mods in order for me to execute the trees in the game, since I am a console player and I have very limited resources for building. But one day I was just scrolling through the debug menu and found the metal support for the trees, and its shape is a little bit familiar to me. Then all of a sudden, the light bulb on top of my head moment happened. So I tried to enlarge the tree support, and surprisingly, it worked very well. Also, for the wide orange shade, as you can see, it consists of 2 debug items, which are the corals that came from the Island Living expansion pack. That's how I achieved the martini glass shape of it, and I'm so thrilled that it almost looked like the ones in real life. Moreover, the Supertrees are supposed to be a vertical garden. However, during the time that I was still building this park, Eco Lifestyle was not yet released, and those vertical garden wall deckers are the perfect and closest detail in real life. So what I did instead is that I look over the debug menu again just in case there's a debug item that can act as a vine or hanging plant, but I saw the tall debug plant that came from the Jungle Adventure game pack. So it was the debug plant that wraps around a specific tree from the same game pack, and same as the metal tree support, I tried to enlarge it, and poof, it's the perfect match for the support. So I guess that was the whole process on how I came up with the Supertrees and Skypath. So let's just proceed to the next part, which is the pavement, facilities, and lighting. Moving on for this part, I finally put in the pavement of the park. I wanted it to be as open as possible, and I just played with some cement and brick patterns in order for it to have a sense of design somehow. And now let's talk about facilities. So aside from the indoor garden, there are a lot of things that families, couples, or even single Sims can do in this park. And of course, the first thing is there are of course comfort rooms at the side, and it's a necessity, so it will always be present at any community lots in The Sims 4. And also there are 3 water features, one inside the indoor garden. The other one is a small pond with a glass platform where Sims can sit and admire the fishes underneath. And the last one is a simple fountain at the picnic area. The park is also toddlers and kids friendly, so it has a huge playground where they could play, and also there is a chess area for adults and elders Sims to enjoy, and a lot of seating areas as well with artworks in it located at the edges of each Supertrees. And last but not the least, I put in a generous amount of lighting, especially in the Supertrees, and to be honest, it looks much better at night. But don't worry, you will be seeing more about it later in the cinematic video that I prepared at the end of this speed build. The next thing that I will be discussing is about the indoor garden, and at first, I really don't like how this space is so cramped up. Like, it is too small for most of the plants, that's why only a few variations are put inside. I also hate the fact that this lot is not big enough. If this lot will be a 64 by 64, then I might be able to add 2 more super trees and the indoor garden will be bigger for sure. Anyway, what I love about the indoor garden is what I did with the roofing. It gave this illusion that the whole structure is fluid and curvy, just like the real indoor garden in Singapore. Also, when you look at it from the inside, it is a lot better since you are able to experience the serene and peaceful vibe that the garden gives you. If the outside is better at night, then the indoor garden is the opposite. It is so good during the morning because of the beautiful sunlight passing through the plants. It feels like you're in a paradise. Another thing is that I added information plates on both sides where Sims could read everything about the specific plant. It is good for those students who are researching or even botanists or scientists. And that's all for the indoor garden, so let's move on to the last part. Last but not the least, the landscaping and finishing touches part. Well, to be honest, I believe I already discussed everything about this part, so for this video to be not awkward and silent, I will just be sharing something that is related to this that happened in real life. So, first thing is that I have never been to Singapore. That's why I only base everything from the photos online and for some YouTube vlogs. Me, my boyfriend, siblings, and cousins were supposed to visit Singapore last November 2019, but due to unforeseen circumstances, my grandmother passed away a week before our trip. So everything was already planned out, including our accommodation and itinerary. We actually even had our tickets already. So I could still remember that we already had booked our flights back and forth, except for my sister, who decided at first to not go with us due to her classes and projects. We bought our tickets on sale together with the help of my boyfriend's travel agency. Then, like the day after we booked ours, my sister just decided to go with us all of a sudden. So, we checked the promo that we acquired and unfortunately, it wasn't available. So what happened next was that she bought tickets instead without discounts or promos, and it was worth twice as our fare. Moreover, she had a different flight details where she could fly solo to Singapore 10 hours earlier of our scheduled flight and planned that she will be fetched by our cousin instead, who is working and living there in Singapore. So I couldn't believe how chaotic it was. Maybe it wasn't planned for us that year, so enough with the story. Before we proceed to the cinematic video, I just want to inform you that this build is already in the gallery, so make sure to check it out by clicking the link in the description box down below. And finally, after so many months, it's good to be back, so I won't be wasting your time already, and I give you Gardens by the Bay. for watching my Gardens by the Bay speed build. For more interesting videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to be notified on upcoming content. Also follow me on my social media accounts and let's be friends. Drop by on my Twitch streams as well at twitch.tv/designcaster. Again, this is Designcaster and I will see you next time.